Wake up. Despite increasing awareness, many myths and misconceptions about narcissistic abuse persist. So let's expose 10 common myths about narcissistic abuse that often obscure the truth. The belief that narcissists are fully aware of their abusive behavior and its impact is a common misconception. Narcissists' awareness of their abusive behavior varies. While some narcissists may have a degree of awareness and intentionally manipulate others, many do not fully understand or recognize their behavior as abusive. Their actions are often driven by deep-seated insecurities and a need for control, which they may rationalize or deny. They may not recognize their behavior as harmful because they are primarily focused on their own needs and desires. When confronted with the negative impact of their actions, narcissists experience cognitive dissonance, a mental conflict between their self-perception and reality. Their relationships are often superficial, focusing on what they can gain rather than genuine emotional connection. This superficiality further contributes to their inability to recognize or acknowledge their abusive behavior. There is a prevalent misconception that narcissistic abuse is less damaging than physical abuse. This myth minimizes the profound impact of non-physical abuse and can prevent victims from seeking the help they need. Narcissistic abuse can be just as harmful, if not more so, than physical abuse. The psychological scars from emotional manipulation, gaslighting, and constant criticism can lead to long-term mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, and PTSD. While the abuse is primarily emotional and psychological, it can also have significant physical health consequences. The stress and trauma of narcissistic abuse can manifest in various physical ailments and persist long after the abusive relationship has ended. Some believe that narcissistic behavior is a temporary phase that the abuser will eventually grow out of. Narcissistic traits and behaviors are deeply ingrained and often worsen over time without intervention. Narcissistic personality disorder is a recognized mental health condition, and the behaviors associated with it are not simply phases, but rather persistent patterns of thought and action. Unlike developmental phases that individuals naturally outgrow, narcissistic behaviors are rooted in deep-seated psychological patterns. When there are few consequences for their abusive behaviors, narcissists have little incentive to change. They often manipulate their way out of accountability, further entrenching their behavior. Labeling narcissists as evil oversimplifies a complex issue. Narcissistic behaviors are often rooted in defense mechanisms designed to protect a fragile self-esteem. These mechanisms include denial, projection, and rationalization. For instance, narcissists may deny their failures to maintain a sense of superiority, project their undesirable traits onto others, or rationalize their actions to avoid guilt or shame. At the core of these behaviors is usually a deep-seated insecurity and a relentless need for validation. The belief that victims of narcissistic abuse are weak is a harmful and unfounded misconception. Narcissists are highly skilled at identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities in others. Their tactics can affect anyone, regardless of their strength, intelligence, or resilience. Victims are not weak. They are subjected to a sustained, deliberate campaign of psychological manipulation designed to undermine their confidence and self-worth. Narcissists use a variety of sophisticated manipulation tactics that can overpower even the strongest individuals. The victim's responses, such as confusion, self-doubt, and fear, are normal reactions to abnormal, abusive behavior. The belief that narcissists are always easy to spot because of their overt behaviors is a misconception. While some narcissists are indeed overt and flamboyant, many exhibit covert behaviors that are much more subtle and harder to detect. Overt narcissists are the stereotypical braggarts who openly seek admiration and recognition. Covert narcissists, on the other hand, display their narcissistic traits in more subtle and insidious ways. Covert narcissists are particularly adept at hiding their true nature. They often come across as humble or self-effacing, masking their manipulative behaviors. This makes it difficult for victims to recognize the abuse and even harder to convince others of their experiences. Covert narcissists rely on the same psychological mechanisms as their overt counterparts, but they do so in a way that is less overt and more psychologically damaging. Contrary to popular belief, narcissistic abuse is not a rare phenomenon. Narcissistic personality disorder is relatively uncommon, affecting an estimated 1 to 6% of the population. Many more individuals exhibit narcissistic traits without meeting the full criteria for the disorder. Narcissistic abuse often goes unrecognized because it can be subtle and insidious. According to the American Psychological Association, up to 17% of people exhibit significant narcissistic traits that can lead to abusive behavior. A common misconception is that narcissists are simply confident individuals with high self-esteem. However, there is a significant difference between genuine confidence and narcissistic behavior. Confidence is rooted in self-assurance and a realistic understanding of one's abilities, while narcissism is characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for excessive admiration, and a lack of empathy. Narcissistic individuals may appear confident, but this false confidence often manifests as arrogance, entitlement, and a tendency to exploit others to maintain their self-image. Unlike truly confident people, narcissists rely on external validation and are hypersensitive to criticism. While it is true that narcissism has been historically more associated with men, narcissistic traits and behaviors are not limited to any one gender. Women can also exhibit narcissistic behaviors and engage in narcissistic abuse. Cultural and societal norms may influence the way narcissism is expressed in men and women, but the core characteristics remain the same across genders. Men with narcissistic traits align with traditional masculine stereotypes, which may contribute to the perception that narcissism is a predominantly male trait. Women with narcissistic traits might express their narcissism differently, often through more covert means. They may engage in behaviors such as playing the victim, using emotional manipulation, and seeking validation through appearance or social status. These behaviors can be just as damaging as the more overt behaviors typically associated with male narcissists. Leaving a narcissist is often an essential step for victims to regain control over their lives and start the healing process. The belief that leaving automatically ends the abuse is a dangerous misconception. Narcissists often continue their abusive behaviors even after the relationship ends, using various tactics to maintain control and inflict further harm. When a victim leaves, it threatens the narcissist's sense of power and superiority, prompting them to regain control through various means. Narcissists often spread false information and malicious rumors about their victims to tarnish their reputation and undermine their support network. This can involve lying about the victim's character, behavior, and reasons for leaving. They might use the legal system to continue their abuse, filing frivolous lawsuits, seeking custody of children, or making false allegations to keep the victim engaged in conflict and stress. If you found this video helpful, please share it with others who might benefit from this information. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay strong and take care.